Hello everyone from a very cold but sunny Barcelona. I've been invited to go to an event called TIS in Seville. And if, like me, you've spent a lot of time at home, so I haven't travelled since March on business, you're probably wondering how these companies are doing it and what the process looks like. So I'm going to film my experience and I hope you find it interesting.
So after registering as a speaker slot, I filled in my application form and I received an email saying that I've got access. So as standard for anyone that goes to exhibitions, I've got my pass here. But then more interestingly, there were two things that grabbed my attention. Number one was instructions to take the test. So it's a free COVID antigen fast test. And then the second thing was the mobility certificate. So every country and every destination has different rules on where you can travel. But here they give you a form which you can fill out. So I'll show you both of these. Firstly is the test. So I've got an option. I have to create an account first. Then I've got two options. I can either take a test in Origin, and they give us the details and the code to do that so that it's free, or I can take the test at the entrance of the venue. And that's the one I'm opting for. I just think it's easy. I turn up to the venue, I get tested, and then I get access. They ask you to leave an hour and a half. Um, so there might be queues. So I need to arrive 1.5 hours early. And it says it takes 15 minutes before you get your results. And once you have your results, you gain access. So it's that easy. The second thing is the form to justify your movement. So I'm not sure if this applies internationally, but within Spain, you can't travel outside of your region unless it's on business currently. So here's a form which is empty. You have to populate it yourself, but it's in Spanish and English. And this allows you to leave the destination on business matters.
There was one other thing that I couldn't show you, which was the registering section. And basically what it looks like is this. I couldn't show you because it uses your camera. It's quite clever. So you first put in your personal details and then it confirms that they've got it. And then the final stage is to scan your face, and then they ask you to rotate your head and they take lots of different photos. And then you're done and it confirms and it asks you to download an app, which is the Personal Code Health app. So that's what I've done so far. I've done the entry form, I've done my registration here, so that it scanned my face and it's linked that to my personal details, which in my case is my passport number.
So I just arrived and it's empty, which is a surprise even under COVID. I mean, this is like rush hour time in the morning and there's no one here at all. I had to show my ticket to get into the airport.
I was handed hand sanitizer and a bag. I guess the bag just keeps everything together and makes it quicker for them to deep clean the flight. I was next to two others on my row, which was understandable as the flight was packed, which is fantastic for the airline. I must say that the three times I've flown over COVID, I've always been next to people in my row, never spaced apart. On landing, I was picked up by the driver and put onto the bus to the host hotel. Very well organised and social distancing on the bus, as you can see.
Hey, so arrived. I'm in Seville. I'm at NH Hotel, Plaza de Armas. It's really nice. It's 4-star. Looks good. Good check-in. Really quick. The event organizer had all the details ready, so all I had to do was sign something, and I was in. The transfer was great. It was waiting for me when I arrived. I've just been told that I can get a test here actually at the hotel, so I'm on my way now. Great idea because then we don't have to wait at the venue, so it's the day before it starts. So I'm done. I had the test 15 minutes ago. I had the results. I am clear. So that's good. So now for 72 hours, I'm fine to do whatever I want, access the event, etc. And I've got an app on my phone which is linked to the results, which I can use to scan in and out of the venue. So the process was very easy. They set up here at the hotel, which is such a great idea. If you're an event organizer and you can do testing at the hotel your delegates are staying in, that's a massive step forwards because today's a travel day. It means you don't have to create a bottleneck outside the event, and it means you've got plenty of time to go at your leisure on the day you arrive and make it fit around your schedule. So I'm really happy to have had that done. They had 2 nurses in full protective gear. The process was to put a long swab down into your nose to the back of your throat and have a little swill around. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but it wasn't bad. Here's Daniela to tell us the breakfast process at the hotel we're staying in.
Morning. So I would say that it's incredibly impressive. Basically, you enter the room and they take you to a service station. You can't access the buffet directly, but a very nice person comes and asks you what you would like and brings you all the things that you want. There's like a table separating you from the buffet, but very, very friendly service. And I think this is exactly why people need to travel, to experience the fact that it's actually possible to travel safely in these circumstances and rediscover the joy of visiting another country.
So I've just approached the venue and there was police everywhere, and so far all they've done is just check my ticket. So that's it so far. So all I had to do was show the email of my test to prove that I'd had it, print my pass, and they let me through just with an X-ray machine. So all very simple, and as you can see now, in an event, which is pretty weird. So here's the Queen of Spain entering the event, which shows a huge vote of confidence in the restart of events and travel. Everyone's had their antigen test, the Queen included.
Greet all the participants.
Here's the main auditorium and this is the opening ceremony itself, and check out how much space between each delegate in the crowd. This was the same throughout the event. There was always safe distance between delegates.
Thank you for visiting us in these difficult and trying times.
What the session looks like. This one's going to get started soon. You can see the distance of the chairs.
Specialization of all agents involved, astronomy, transport.
This
event together. I think it's really important. This is my first business trip since January, since I was here for Fitur in Madrid. And you know, the biggest issue that we face going forwards is that.
So everyone, I hope you got something out of that. It might be a bit useful. It's interesting to see people who are leading the field in terms of making events happen. That event was called TIS, Tourism Innovation Summit, and I have to say, as an event organizer myself, I was very impressed with what they were doing. I can tell you they had 1,263 physical attendees over 3 days from 16 different countries. So that also means they did 1,263 tests. Now, obviously, you've got to factor that into your profit and loss. It's not free to do that kind of thing, but it's very interesting to see that it can be delivered and at the scale. There were 3,800 virtual attendees, 236 speakers, of which I was one, 59 exhibitors, and many national and international associations involved as well. I wanted to thank a few people. So on my speaking sessions, I spoke to Enrique Ibarra, who's the founder and CEO of City Sightseeing, and he did a Q&A about the growth of his business, which was really insightful, and he was a very, very nice guy to work with. Also to Julio Andrade, who sits as director at CIFIL Malaga and is a UNITAR fellow, and he was advising us on the UN's 2030 climate targets, which is, you know, post-COVID, I think the most important thing for all businesses to consider. Finally, I wanted to say thank you to Paul Anthony. He's the digital commercialization director at Hotel Beds, and he did a very interesting session on tech on distribution, and it was wonderful to meet him and work with him very briefly too. Finally, the way I'd like to leave this is before COVID, and I'm sure many of you watching this, we were traveling every week, every other week. Now, I'm being a bit more conscious of the 2030 climate targets and how I'm contributing to that, and I know that this flight was 0.377 tons of CO2 for me to travel, and in a year the max I can do is 0.6. So this one journey to Seville is way over half of the CO2 which can be generated by a single person in a year, and that's not forgetting the food, the rubbish, transport around the city here, many other things as well, which none of us really consider day to day. So I think it's important for event organisers to know that maybe offsetting hosts or speaker flights should be an expectation in the near future, if not now. I think for delegates travelling on business to demand their companies offset the flights or take the initiative to do it themselves. Also really important to question the value of the trip that you're making, not just traveling because it's habit, because it's somewhere you go every year and you have to be there, but actually analysing and looking at the return you're getting. If you think you've got a pool of credits to use, how do you want to use those credits most effectively for maximum return? So look at CO2 like you look at your budget, basically. That's something to consider moving forwards. But offsetting is still not the solution. The solution is less travel, alternative travel, transportation methods. And also, planting a tree is fantastic, but it takes a long time to see the results of planting that tree. Actually, one of the most effective things to do is to protect existing rainforests. So definitely on a corporate level, look into those schemes. Thank you. I hope this was a little bit useful. Thanks for watching, and be interested to hear any of your comments below. Has anyone else attended a physical event? What were your experiences? What are they doing differently to this organiser? And I hope to see you all soon in the flesh.